Sometimes just a glance in the mirror can spark a deep question. What happened to me? If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. Over time, something changes in the body, and when the blood no longer flows with the same vitality as before, everything starts to feel tougher. Energy fades, strength doesn't respond like it used to, and that intimate connection, once so natural, becomes a distant memory, as if tucked away in an unreachable corner. But here's something surprising many don't know. A white powder that almost everyone has at home. Baking soda can have an unexpected impact when used the right way. Far beyond being just a stomach remedy, it can help clear arteries, boost circulation, and awaken that vitality you thought was lost. I'm Dr. Reed, and for over 30 years, I've been helping men over 60 regain their energy, health, and confidence without harsh medications or risky methods. What I'm about to share could challenge many of your beliefs about aging, because although it might sound strange, the very remedy we use to soothe stomach discomfort might be the key to reactivating blood flow and reconnecting with a stronger, more vibrant, and more authentic version of yourself. Soon, I'll walk you through how to use baking soda step by step to start transforming your body from the inside out with a simple practice that can have profound effects. Imagine feeling present again, with a clear mind and an awakened body, like reuniting with yourself after a long time. So stay with me, because this information can truly make a difference. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll stay up to date on all the tips we share to help you feel stronger, healthier, and more confident at every stage of your life. If this message resonates with you, write a 1 in the comments. If not, write a 0. I read every response because I'm here to improve this content, especially for you. Now, to understand the real power of this habit, we need to look inside the body and see what happens after age 60. What many people don't realize is that the issue isn't simply age. It's not that the body suddenly loses its energy or desire. What actually happens is that circulation slows down over the years, and this decline is often so gradual that we barely notice it until it starts impacting our quality of life. This is exactly where bicarbonate can make a difference, serving as support to reactivate what seemed to have faded away forever. I clearly remember a patient who once said to me, "Doctor, I no longer feel like a man." He wasn't referring to physical strength or muscles. He was talking about that inner feeling of being alive, waking up with drive, purpose, and connection. And truthfully, his case wasn't unique. Many men experience something similar as they age. It begins subtly, with unusual fatigue after a short walk, or with hands and feet feeling cooler than usual. Intimacy slowly fades, and what once felt easy now requires extra effort. But this isn't a sign of weakness. It's a biological issue. After age 60, the body produces less nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax and expand. As this production declines, blood doesn't flow as easily, meaning less oxygen reaches the brain, muscles, and also the areas that support you. Your confidence in intimacy isn't just an illusion or an emotional problem. It's connected to your blood flow. Poor circulation affects not only performance, but also changes the way you think, sleep, and even how you see yourself. Over time, inadequate blood flow causes inflammation, fatigue, mental fog, and a growing disconnect from yourself and others. It's common for many men to feel as if they've lost an essential part of their identity. However, this is what I always say in my office. Just because something has slowed down doesn't mean it can't return to its natural rhythm. The body has an incredible ability to recover when it's supported with respect, patience, and natural methods. You don't need to fill your nightstand with bottles. With the right approach, you can feel whole again. And what if I told you that right now, in your own kitchen, you have something that could transform your health in a way most doctors never mention? It's affordable, safe, and surprisingly effective at improving your circulation and restoring your energy. I'm talking about baking soda, but not in the usual way everyone knows. I mean a specific method of using it that can make a real difference in your well-being. If you're still with me and this information speaks to you, type the number 1 in the comments. That helps me know this message is reaching the right audience. Now, let's keep going because there's much more I want to share with you. Let's explore what baking soda actually does inside your body. When I first came across research about baking soda's effect on circulation, I was genuinely surprised. I had always thought of it as something to deodorize the fridge or ease an upset stomach. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized this simple white powder holds amazing potential that very few people take advantage of. As we get older, our bodies lose the ability to maintain the right internal pH balance, that natural equilibrium between acidity and alkalinity. This balance can easily be thrown off by a diet high in processed foods, dehydration, or excessive stress. When the internal environment becomes more acidic, inflammation sets in, blood vessels constrict, and blood flow is restricted. When circulation slows down, everything changes. You feel exhausted, lose mental sharpness, and intimacy becomes difficult. That's when baking soda can make a difference. Used the right way and at the right time, it works as a natural alkalizer that helps restore the body's internal balance. And once that balance is back, something powerful happens. Blood vessels relax, nitric oxide production increases, inflammation goes down, and blood begins to flow freely again. This boost in circulation doesn't just help the heart, it benefits every part of your body. Men I've worked with say they feel more alert, focused, and more connected, both emotionally and physically, with their partners. This isn't magic, it's pure physiology. You're simply helping your body do what it was made to do. But there's one important detail. It only works if used correctly. I have seen many people make the mistake of thinking that more is better, only to suffer negative effects from overdoing it. The true power of baking soda lies in precision. A small, carefully applied adjustment can trigger a chain reaction within your body. So, how exactly should it be used? What is the safe and effective method men over 60 are using with real results? Let me explain it step by step. After decades of practicing medicine, I've learned that the smallest changes, when done consistently and correctly, often bring the biggest results. I remember a patient named Roberto, 68 years old. He was a retired engineer, a brilliant mind with a kind gaze, but he felt frustrated. "Doctor," he told me, "I do everything right. I walk, I eat well, I sleep, but I still feel tired, slow, drained." We adjusted just one thing, the timing and way he took a small dose of baking soda. That's when everything began to improve. Here's what I recommended. A small dose, just a quarter teaspoon of pure food-grade baking soda, dissolved in a glass of about 240 milliliters of room temperature water, nothing more. The most important thing is to take it in the morning, right after waking up and before eating anything. Overnight, the body naturally becomes more acidic, so this is the ideal time for the alkalizing effect to be most effective. It's not just a drink, it's a way to reset your internal chemistry. I suggest doing this only 3 or 4 times a week, never daily. That frequency is enough to activate the benefits without overwhelming your body. The goal isn't to flood your body with sodium or push it to operate at full throttle. The idea is to provide gentle, consistent, and strategic support to your blood vessels, and your entire energy system. Imagine you're tuning an engine carefully, not flooring the accelerator. If you want to enhance this effect even more, you can add a little lemon juice or a pinch of good quality natural salt. But even without these additions, the results can be felt clearly and progressively. Roberto called me about 2 weeks after he started. He told me, "It's like someone turned the light on inside me again." He felt more energized, thought more clearly, and yes, even his intimate life started to feel possible again. But the most important thing is that baking soda isn't the complete solution, it's just one part of the puzzle. Because when circulation improves, something even deeper begins to return. It's something many men fear they've lost forever. Let's talk about that now. If you're still with me and this content is helpful, I invite you to write the number 1 in the comments. That way, I'll know you're here and that this is resonating with you. Now let's move on to the next point. What men are really experiencing. One of the most rewarding parts of my work is hearing from men who thought their best years were behind them, only to discover they still have a lot of life left inside them. I'm not talking about miracles or overnight changes. I'm talking about real men like you and me who made a small adjustment and finally started to feel like themselves again. I remember one man in particular, Carlos, 71 years old, a former high school coach. He had a firm handshake, but his eyes showed exhaustion. He said to me, "Doctor, it's not just about intimacy, it's about feeling like I'm still me, about my wife looking at me the way she used to." That phrase stuck with me. A few weeks after starting to use baking soda, he called me just to say thank you. He wasn't running marathons or doing anything extraordinary, but he felt something different. His mornings felt lighter. He recovered his energy faster after walking, and his relationship with his wife seemed warmer, closer, with no rush, no pressure, just presence. He said, "It's like my body is finally listening to me again," and he hasn't been the only one. Over the years, I've heard hundreds of similar stories. Men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s sharing their experiences. Some mention feeling sharper mentally during the day, others notice fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom. Many describe gaining back that quiet confidence they thought was lost in their relationships, and almost all agree on the same thing. I wish I had known this sooner. What they're experiencing isn't just physical, it's emotional. When blood flows better, it affects every part of your life. You feel stronger. You express yourself with more confidence, and that inner spark, that feeling of truly being alive, begins to return. But while these stories are powerful, there's something more you need to know. Because if you're not careful, it's easy to make mistakes. And if you slip up, you could undo all the progress you've worked so hard to achieve. That's why now we'll talk about what not to do. The 5 most common mistakes you should avoid. Over the years, I've seen how simple habits can have an incredible impact when done right, but I've also seen how those same habits can lose all their effectiveness, or even harm you if done wrong. That's why this part is so important. Because while baking soda can be very effective, there are common mistakes that can hold you back, or worse, endanger your health. And the first is one of the most frequent, thinking that more is always better. I've had men tell me, "Doctor, if a 1/4 teaspoon helped, maybe a whole teaspoon will work even faster." But that's not how the body works. Taking too much baking soda can overload your system with sodium, irritate your stomach, and even raise your blood pressure. This isn't about forcing the body. It's about respecting its natural rhythm. In this case, less really is more. The second common mistake is taking it every day without any breaks. Even if it's good for you, your body needs rest cycles, even with beneficial things. Using baking soda 3 or 4 times a week is enough to let your body adapt and respond in balance. Using it every day can have the opposite effect. What you're building here is a solid foundation for well-being over the long term, not a quick fix. Another mistake I often see is using low-quality baking soda, products that contain fillers, aluminum, or other additives. Always choose a pure food-grade version without unnecessary ingredients. And of course, never skip the water. I've seen some brave people try to take it straight undiluted, and believe me, it didn't end well. Finally, never forget to consult your doctor, especially if you have high blood pressure, kidney problems, or are on a sodium-restricted diet. Even natural remedies deserve the same level of care as any medication. Your medical history matters, and your safety should always come first. I'm not saying this to alarm you, but to empower you. Because when you avoid these mistakes, you give your body the best chance to respond fully. You allow real change to take root. Now you're probably wondering, how do I put all this into practice? What's the first step? How do I know if it's really working for me? Let's talk exactly about that. What to do now? If you've made it this far, it tells me something important. You're ready, not just curious, not just interested, but truly willing to take action for yourself. And the good news is, you don't need to overhaul your entire life to start noticing a difference. You just need to take small, consistent steps. Here's what I recommend. Tomorrow morning before breakfast, before the day's noise begins, mix a 1/4 teaspoon of food-grade baking soda in a glass of room-temperature water. Stir gently. Take a deep breath and drink it slowly, without rushing or distractions. Just you taking the first step toward better circulation, clearer energy, and a deeper connection with yourself. Do this 3 or 4 times a week, not every day, and pay attention to how your body responds. Don't expect fireworks. This isn't magic, but after a few days, you might wake up with a clearer mind, walk with a little more lightness, and feel more grounded in your conversations, thoughts, and relationships. It's not just about performance, it's about presence, feeling like your best self again, and being able to offer that version to the people you love. And don't do it alone. If you have doubts, talk to your doctor. Share this with a friend who might be going through the same thing, and above all, listen to your body. It knows a lot more than we often believe. That's how it begins, not with a prescription or another promise in a bottle, but with a quiet decision made in your kitchen. And from there, changes can begin to unfold in ways you never imagined. Now, before we wrap up, there's one last thing I want to share with you. It's the most important message of all. Unfortunately, it's something many men don't hear often enough, especially as they get older. Stay with me, because this part could completely change how you see yourself. The final message from Dr. Puig. If you could take away just one idea from everything we've discussed today, let it be this: you haven't reached your peak yet. You're not too old, too far gone, or running out of time. That feeling of decline you may have noticed over the years is not permanent. It's not a sign that your most powerful days are behind you. It's a signal. Your body is asking for support, not surrender. We talked about how circulation quietly decreases over time, how nitric oxide production drops, and how that one change affects your energy, mental clarity, and connection with others. We explored how a simple, everyday ingredient like baking soda, when used thoughtfully, can help restore your internal balance, strengthen your blood vessels, and help you regain something many men believe they've lost forever. You heard real, heartfelt stories from men like you, and understood that this isn't about chasing youth, but about reclaiming your vitality. It's about reintroducing yourself with strength into your life, your body, and your relationships. After more than 30 years working with men who just wanted to feel like themselves again, I can tell you with certainty, age is not your enemy. Disconnection is. And the moment you start caring for your body intentionally, even through small actions, you begin to write a new story. So if your mornings feel sluggish, if your confidence has dropped, if you've quietly wondered whether this is the end, I want you to know it doesn't have to be that way. Now you have a starting point, a simple glass of water, a few mornings a week, and more importantly, a mindset that says, I'm not done yet. I'm not fading away. I'm choosing to take care of myself again. And if at any moment you doubt that choice, let me remind you that there's a reason you're still here, listening, seeking, exploring. That reason is your next chapter, and every step you take to reclaim it is worth it. If this message resonated with you, if it brought you clarity, hope, or simply gave you a moment to breathe and rethink your health, I would really appreciate it if you could take a second to show your support. Just by clicking the like button, I'll know this is reaching the people who need it. It might seem like a small gesture, but it helps more than you realize. And if you know a friend, a sibling, a neighbor, anyone quietly struggling with their energy, confidence, or connection, don't keep this to yourself. Share it. We don't talk about these things enough, and a simple video could be exactly the encouragement that person needs. I'd also love to hear from you directly. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what stood out to you the most, or where are you on your own journey? Whether you're just starting to take your health seriously or have tried everything and feel like you haven't made much progress, your story matters and your voice could inspire someone else to take that first step. That's how we grow together. One choice, one conversation, one day at a time. So please like, share, and comment below. And thank you for spending this time with me. You're not alone and you're far from done.